Hey, welcome back to my channel. I got shop is cleaned out. I got to do a little bit of cleaning up in here. I want to get the rear clip for the 69 build in here. There's a few things I need to do first. I started a video about seats for my Super Bee. I also need to service the mower. Grass is kind of getting out of control, so the wife wants me to get that done. I'm going to make a video on how to service a mower and what I do anyway. And I actually did work as a mechanic at a John Deere dealer for a few years and sort of know what I'm doing, I guess. So I'm going to make a video about that as well. And then I'm going to get the rear clip in here so I can start working on it. And probably be bringing the other car in. So the rear clip's coming in first, facing, I'm going to have it facing, I guess, the rear end towards the back of the shop or the front of the shop. I'm not sure if that's the front. I'm not sure if the door is the front of the shop. I guess that'd be the front, and that would be the rear of the shop. Okay, so anyway, either way, rear end's gonna be facing that way, and I'm gonna start cutting the things off of it that I need to, or I think I need to, getting that ready, and then I'm gonna bring in that other car, and I'm gonna make sure that they're level with each other and start getting the things off of it, because once that happens, it's not gonna be rollable. So anyway, that's the plan for today. And yeah, I guess we'll get started with the mower. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get started with the mower. Okay, got the mower in here. I'm going to service this. I ended up having to clean off the deck. Unfortunately, it rained last night, so that had gotten, there was some grass on it that got wet. Take a air hose to it and blow it off, hopefully. My floor's sweating pretty good. It's pretty humid. Had some pretty good storms today, I guess. But yeah, let's get started on this. This is an X724 all-wheel steer John Deere. It does have a Kawasaki engine that's quite dirty. And let's get started on this. All right, I'm going to start off with removing the hood off of this. And it's been a while since I've had this off, but if I remember correctly, it just kind of slides off. There we go. There's also a plug-in on there that I did not unplug because I already had it unplugged. It's for the headlights. Let me get you in here, man. Right there. Right here. There's a piece that comes out and there's a hose that drops down from there. And that is where the oil drains out of. The battery, you have to take the hood off to get the battery out. I did replace this battery this winter. That's why the light, the plug-in was unplugged. Usually I go with more expensive batteries. Interstate is what I usually use, but last time I bought an Interstate battery, it was like 250 bucks. Not for this, it was for my pickup. And when it went bad in 3 years, and I'm like, well, that's not right. So I went to get a new one, get it replaced, and they're like, oh yeah, it's only got a 3-year warranty. So it was going to be another 200 and I think it was 280 bucks this time. And I'm like, nope, I'll go to Walmart, get a 3-year warranty on an EverStart, or Never Start as I've heard them called. And it goes bad, I go spend 120 bucks for a new one. If it lasts 3 years, I'm still money ahead. This is where the oil filter is. Yep, I know. I spent way too much money on oil. But I was there. This is the actual part number it takes. This is an actual John Deere oil filter. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but I had always heard, let's get this out of here. I had always heard that the oil flows different in these. Boy, she needs some antifreeze too, doesn't it? Yep, I'd say it needs a little antifreeze. So I was told that the oil flows different in these. I don't know if that's true or not, but the aftermarket oil filters do not flow in the correct direction for these engines. Now, that was told to me while I was working for a John Deere dealer, and maybe he was just telling me that so that I would buy John Deere oil filters, could be, but I've never taken a chance. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I go with the John Deere oil filter, and I was there. By the time you drive your car to Wally World or whatever, get cheaper oil, I might as well just get that, which I probably had 530 sitting on the shelf somewhere, but it takes 2 quarts. Not a big deal. 25 bucks, had everything to change it. I believe that's what it was, 25 bucks. So, yep, let's get started on this and get the oil dumped out of it. Now, the guy thinks he has everything, but for some reason, my catch can for the oil is missing, so I stole this from my wife. No, really, I didn't. She would be mad if I did. This was in the garage. I think it was used for cats. It takes a 10 millimeter. All right, luckily I have a 10 millimeter right here. Just get more stuff in the way. It's starting to drain now. A lot of people will tell you not to do this when it's hot, but I particularly would, because I think the oil comes out of there faster when it's warm. And I don't know if this thing's gonna hold 2 quarts or not. I guess we're gonna find out. Here, just so you get a good look of where that's actually coming out of. There's a hose down there. And it's just barely warm to the touch. If it had actually been hot, it'd run out of there a lot faster. What? That doesn't make any sense. That's not a real good area to get to either, in case you were wondering. I don't know why I don't have my ratcheting wrench on there. That would make it better, or easier, I should say. Now, I'm going to put this underneath here. All right. I've had some of them that just want to leak like crazy when you go to take them off. And see, this one's going to do it here now. It's always right there in that one spot. And it wants to drop onto that deal. I don't know why that little trick didn't work. Maybe I didn't get a big enough hole in it. Always check to make sure the seal is there. I put a little oil on it. Some people use new oil. I usually just use the used oil. Doesn't really matter, it's just to keep it from ripping. Spin that on. You do not need to use a tool to tighten it up, just finger tight. Double check to make sure that this is tight. Now, I take and put this back over this way. There's a hose that I put it up over top of. It's just not hanging down so low, I guess. Here's where the oil goes. Of course, I'm going to spill it. It's supposed to take 1.9 quarts. I don't think it really matters. I just put 2 quarts in it. Well, that finishes draining into there. Let's see how bad that air filter looks. It's been really dry in Iowa here lately, last couple summers, so I don't have high hopes. Yeah, it's dirty. The actual air filter, I mean, is, you know, there's dirt on top of it, which is going to be kind of common, but you want to get that off of there for sure. That's always good. Yep, that's how it should go. That really makes no sense. They have holes right in here. So all that dirt, what in the devil? Is it, oh, okay, I understand. It's actually pulling air in. No, it cannot be that. That's crazy. Okay, well, let's get this cleaned out, and hopefully I can find that window. Before you start using any air, make sure that you do not want any dirt getting into your oil system at all. First things first. This part here, I'm a little more concerned about. All right, so this is what they call a pre-filter. See, just gotten. This needs to be oiled to help catch all this stuff. I have cleaned these up with parts cleaner. For people using gasoline, I would not use gasoline to clean this up. Gasoline will damage it. All it is foam. All it is foam. So we'll get some oil, kind of work the oil in there. I'm going to use used oil that I just drained out of the system. I think that's fine. All right, so you just kind of let that soak in there, kind of like that, there. Just kind of get it all full oil, so that's running off like that there. Then you just squeeze it out of there. And yep, you're gonna make a mess. Probably should wear gloves for this. I never think about wearing gloves, because back when I started doing all this kind of stuff, there wasn't gloves. So I never think about it, and I know that a guy really should have rubber gloves on. All right, let's set that up there, let that dry a minute. And kind of got to get my hands cleaned up a little bit more to squeeze that out a little better. I think that's pretty good. All right, well, this slips right back on top of that. And that should catch the dirt. So that is a pre-filter, and that should catch all the really fine dirt and keep it out of that air filter. That's why that air filter was as clean as it was. I'm gonna wipe where I spilled off. Check the fluid. It says that it's full. Yeah, I'm gonna start that and let that circulate through. Doing is I'm looking for leaks anywhere. I'm not seeing any. Good. Yeah, there's my oil spot. I actually have some really good floor dry, and I'm not even sure the name of it, but I got it from Norby's farm store, and it has got to be about the best stuff I've ever used. This floor in the shop is such a nice floor that it really picks oil up quick off of it. It's pretty smooth floor. Not really best when it gets wet, because you can really, it'll really, feet will slip on it quick. But you'll see that this stuff is like magic. Just kind of rub my feet in there a little bit. Again, I should probably have gloves on for this, but I don't. Picks it up really well. Now all I gotta do is take a little bit of carb cleaner to that and finish the job up. It's really humid today, which is causing my floor to sweat a little bit. But anyway, I'll show you now what I do for tightening, or for sharpening the blades. We also have to take these end pieces off here. These come off pretty simple. There's these little clips right there. Come on, there we go. You see all that dirt that's inside here. That needs to all be blowed out. That's the radiator right there. So you want this to be kept pretty clean. Okay, so on these side panels, what I did there was I blew these out. Blew out thought I was making a video of this, but obviously I missed it. So these things here, they have these little tabs, and you just turn that, pull this out, this comes out. I blew these out. These fit in. There's grooves here, this here, this here, these deals here all fit into, this fits into this hole here, right here. So that goes in there like that. These fit down inside here. And obviously this little clip deal comes in through right there, like that. And then there's rubber grommets up here. If you can see what I'm doing here, there's rubber grommets. You just push them in, turn this, done. Pretty simple. Same thing on that side. Turn this thing. Yep, that's right. Okay. All right. Now, for the battery. I know this battery is good because I've already replaced it, but I'm going to test it anyway with a battery tester. Positive, negative, showing about 13 volts. Test it, perfect. Thing's only 230 volts and it's showing 600. That's crazy. All right. Next step is I take some of this Max battery cleaner, spray it on these ends. You'll see how that foams up. We'll let that eat away at the corrosion or acid, whatever you want to call it, for a while. That should just eat it, and then it also will end up protecting it. All right, that's been sitting there on that battery for over a minute, and none of it has turned pink, which means there is no acid present, which is good. So then we just take a rag, wipe all this off. So if there's acid present on the terminals, it'll come up the yellow. Instead of being yellow, it'll turn pink. But it never did, so it's good to go. Usually I have some battery protector that I spray on there, but I do not seem to be able to. I think I'm out of it. So I get that through Napa, and it just kind of sprays on there and turns it red and seals everything in. I'll look a little harder to see if I can find some, but I don't think I've got any. Let's top this antifreeze off. There's a little bit in this one. Let's see. Hopefully this does it. If not, I got more. Well, helps if I don't spill. Okay, well, probably a little more. Overfill it just a little bit, maybe. But whatever, it'll just out the bottom. That's okay. Man, I'm gonna have to get out my fan. Yeah, I had to open up my shop door. It's just getting pretty hot in here. Like I said, it's really humid. It's gonna cause my floor to sweat. I know it is, but anyway, here's a little trick that I've always done to sharpen my blades, to get to my blades, really. And you can take the deck off, but this thing is such a pain to take the deck off. I can do it, but it is not fun. So I use my cherry picker, get it lifted up a little bit. So the blades, I'm sure if you can see that, are 18 millimeter. There we go. Bring it up right. 18 millimeter. So what I do is I take an impact. So these blades actually look pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of pieces on there. And I always have used these gator blades. I don't know, I kind of like them. But I'll show you how I clean these up and get these sharpened. I'm gonna try to show this best I can. So what I do is I put these in a vise like so. And I've actually had these bad enough where you've had to grind these straight, but these aren't that bad. So all I want to do is just keep this angle going. What you want to look at on these blades also is they'll get some wear marks, and they call that wing tipped. And what happens when they get wing tipped, they need to really be replaced because the blade can actually flex there and then can cause it to break from the flexing. It's out of balance when that happens, and well, you can about imagine what it'd be like if your blades broke. That's pretty dangerous. Actually, heard a story about a guy's shop that burnt down from these batteries, these DeWalt batteries. I've never heard of anything like that before. I don't know if the story's true, but let me know in the comments down below if anybody's ever heard of something like that happen. His whole shop burnt down. I don't know if it was a DeWalt battery thing or if it was a actual, just, I heard DeWalt, but I don't know if it was just DeWalt or if it happens with different, all them batteries. I've heard electric cars catching on, just burning, but I've never heard of that, of these electric cordless tools anyway. That's pretty sharp. The edge is not perfect, but there's a lot of rocks in my yard anyway. It's never going to be perfect. Another thing is, my dad, he used to take and balance these and everything. That's kind of what it should look like there. Now, I think that would be more important with a push mower. I've never actually balanced them, so, but I could see where that would affect a push mower, the balance of the engine on a push mower. There we go. Well, there you go. 2 more blades to go and this is done. And they are a little hot when you get that done. All right, got the blades all sharpened and now getting ready to put some anti-seize on the spindle bolts so that they don't rust. All right, just this is the anti-seize that I'm going to use. This is high temp. Doesn't need to be high temp. Just take the brush out and just put a nice light coat on it. And this stuff has a tendency to get everywhere. Now also, when you put your blades up in there, this goes in a certain way. Okay, so these are a spring washer, and they will tighten up by themselves. So basically, this will compress and make this bolt that much tighter. So whatever you do, don't use a huge impact and just hammer away on them, because you're going to need more force to take it off than to put it on. I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you. And these look to me like they did not have anti-seize put on them last time. And if I remember correctly, I paid somebody to service this last time. So I'm not real happy about that. That's why they came off kind of hard. I took them off with a 1/2-inch drive, and I'm putting them back on with a 3/8 drive. So when time comes next year, I can get them back off. If I put them on with that same impact wrench, I may not be able to get them off, and then you'll end up breaking the bolts and replacing spindles and everything else. So that's the way I do it. Okay, so now I've got the blades back on. While I have it up in the air here, I'm going to grease it. There's a grease cert right here. There's grease certs on the spindles, but they're sealed bearings. So I'm not really sure why there's grease certs there. I've never understood that. If you ever had to replace them bearings, you know that they're sealed. There's a grease cert here, right there. And then also these gauge wheels each have a grease on it, a grease cert, and those need to be greased because otherwise they'll wear out. Now, I do not believe that there's grease certs on this rear steer. Let me look here. No, so there's no grease certs on that. And I think that's the only grease certs there is. This grease gun is not as good. This is one I've always used for just front wheel grease. Guess it's getting front wheel grease. Well, I can't get it to even take grease. Here we go. Wow. Okay. Went through that time. There you go. Come on, get back off there. All right, and now the gauge wheels. Yeah, these gauge wheels hasn't been greased enough. They need to be replaced. That one for sure does. I think I replaced a couple of these already. Most people don't grease these. They don't understand the fact that these need to be greased. Yeah, that one needs to be replaced too. Yeah, that one's a lot. Those other two are kind of loose. Okay, on this side here, I just greased this until I started to see that move there. And that was good enough on that. Thought I had the camera rolling, but obviously I didn't. But I don't want to put any more grease in it either. So now all I got to do is set this down, spray them. I'm going to take some air and blow the engine off. Put the hood back on. The hood goes in, there's these two wheels that go down inside here. Hook up the electricity for the light, which is right there. And it's ready to go mowing. One more thing I did forget. Check the tire pressure. 12 pounds in the front, 10 pounds in the back. That's what, if I remember correctly, that's what the pressures are supposed to be. I've seen these things came into the shop and they'd have 35 pounds. And I mean, this is basically your suspension. So the more air you put in that tire, for one, you're going to wear out the center of the tire from that, but also you're going to get more, it's going to be more rigid, more bounce to it. 12 pounds front, 10 pounds back. And they need to be even. If they're not, it will not mow level. Well, my gauge for I usually use for these isn't working. So I'm going to go 15 pounds on the front, 10 pounds on the back, because this does not go to 12. In here a little bit. So there's these little wheels that this hood slides on, and it goes into them tracks. These two wheels do. You should be able to bring the hood up and it'll slide down into place. Theory, should. Why do you fight me? Alright. That's in. Both of those sides are in. Done. Just put the tools away. Let's see how it moves. While I'm at it, this thing here is broken. It really probably needs to be replaced, but I'm really tired. Fixed. hard to argue with the job that a John Deere mower does. Looks good. I think the ground's a little wet, but as you can see, it's probably going to get a lot wetter. Well, that's the video for how to service John Deere mower. Now, some of your mowers will have timed blades and all that kind of stuff. John Deere does not, so that makes that a little simpler. So you don't have to worry about that so much. But yeah, that's kind of where that one went today. Well, I hope you enjoyed this how-to video, and if you do go out there and service your own mower or whatever, I mean, everything just saves a little money. I mean, yeah, there's people that get paid to do this, and that's fine. But I guess I try to spend my money elsewhere and do things myself. So for the most part, I mean, obviously I've had that mower serviced last year. Must have had it serviced last year by somebody else, because I would have put anti-seize on them bolts, and I know that I didn't. And there was a couple other things on there that I noticed that I would have done, like there wasn't any grease on the gauge wheels. Spindles weren't greased.